something that you don't know. The rules of making money off crypto. It's the crypto commandments. It's the crypto commandments. I can teach you something that you don't know. The rules of making money off crypto.
Alright, this ain't financial advice, but we've been land banking. The expansion on the mansion is nice. If you never took a chance in your life and you want some Bitcoin, I can knock a few grand off the price. Yeah, that's cool. Yep. Here's rule number 1, be cautious, cause there's some shit you've never done. Rule number 2, only invest what you wanna lose. Like that money with the chick you blew on a cruise. Rule number 3, buy the rumor, sell the news, cause the noobs get enthused. See, we read stock charts, watch tickers, and do fundamentals. Rule number 4, watch the price and make a move when it's on the floor. Look like the Robin Hood app was stealing from the poor. My one talk too much, know everything. Partner told me Bitcoin was over when it hit 4 bands. I said, you're a plan, I ran and bought more, man. The same dude said it was a short squeeze and his brain got popped over GameStop stock when that thing got dry. Rule number 5, if you buy it and it take a dive, buy more, double down, that'll decrease your cost average. Your boss savage, but I ain't acting like I ain't lost cabbage. My thoughts be tossing darts and you can learn from my experiences. Thought seriousness, which leads me to rule number 6, never use an online wallet for your grips. Not Coinbase or none of that shit, these is chips. Secure insured website, you could call it that. My niggas breaking in the app should get your wallet hacked. I said I need a favor. My man gave me an encrypted code he wrote down on a piece of paper, and that's 250 of them in a paper wallet. He owed me one, he try and make it solid, huh? Rule number 7, if you're scared, go to church and get the money to the reverend. Yeah, scared money don't make none, and real money don't mean none. I'm in Vermont, rare honey with Dunny shooting a skeet gun. Mommy got a unique physique with the feet done. She keep the toes out. I had XRP holdings, she said close out. Which leads me to rule number 8, you can move on the price or you can move on the weight or the trade value. You know the way I do. Buy some new shit, I pull up there like, hey, how are you? Shit, rule number 9, remember this ain't the stock market. Be in it for the long haul. Buy some altcoins, I got ETH at 150. He welterweight, he got beef at 150. You don't wanna rock, man. Look, I got this Glock and the ring off the blockchain. Fat boy with the pants on, think he slim. The pinky ring look like an inky rim. Getting crypto money out the ATM. Y'all niggas still doing cash money, that's baby now. Yeah, rule number 10, don't be stingy, share the money with a friend. Let your partner know when to sell and when to spend. That's how we all win.
It's the crypto commandments. It's the crypto commandments. Yeah, I can teach you something that you don't know. The rules of making money off crypto. It's the crypto commandments. It's the crypto commandments. I can teach you something that you don't know. The rules of making money off crypto.
What's up? How y'all been? Golly, I ain't had no time to do this, man. I wish I had. Been working hard. How y'all been though? What's up, man, with the people? It's been crazy since my birthday, December 19th. Got a new album coming out. Guess we're gonna listen to some of that. Oh, okay, I forgot. I've been forgetting how to do everything. Got a new album coming out. Hyro Coin Bar. Y'all got y'all some bar? Bar on the move. The crypto market is crazy right now. Let me get my thing right, man. Crypto market is crazy. My man Nano in the building. I see you, Brad. I see you, Miss Lamb. I see Boom out there. But I just was enjoying my free time for a minute. I gotta keep it real. Sometimes you just gotta tell yourself, stop, chill, relax. You in control of a lot of things, but you know you ain't in control of everything. Sometimes you just gotta chill. Recover, recuperate, relax. All those R words. Why they all start with a re? Because they all want you to do something over, huh? But it's funny because a lot of the re words, like the words that start with re, and you be like recover. But was you covering at first? I gotta look up how recover became meaning to recover. Like you reanimate something, something was already animated. If you do recreation, you're recreating something. Your recreation is recreating an experience. You know, like go play, and you go play a game that's normally been played before. All recreation things, you know, hoop. You know what I'm saying? Football is recreation. So you recreating something, but then I'll be looking at the reword. Anyway, y'all know how we do our tangents over here. Yeah, no. Golly. I seen $35,000 Bitcoin. I was telling my partner, Bitcoin could probably go down to 29. BNB is at like 370 something last time I looked. Y'all want to know how YouTube be messing up? Not messing up my life, but it probably do this to other people too. So I was talking about this on IG a minute ago. I got up this morning because I only got limited free time once a week. So I have some free time right now. And I was like, I got up this morning to go fishing. But you want to know how YouTube affect that? I start watching other people fishing on YouTube. I don't know if anybody else do that. And instead of getting up and going to go fishing, dog, I just sat and started watching other people fishing. I was like, man, what's up, Dave B? I was like, man, that's that new era stuff right there where you too stuck in the simulation, dude, to get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Not really, though, because I do get up and do what I got to do every day. But I'm saying that right there is crazy. Like, that's saying, like, I'm about to get up and go to the club. And then instead, you just start watching the club on YouTube. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. But one of the cold part about that, some of the best fishing videos I watch, I'm just Saturday morning talking, enjoying myself. I might even go into the simulation. Anybody got their Oculus headset? Who got their Oculus headset? What's up with Brother Ish? Peace, Brother Ish. Yeah, I don't do no virtual fishing on the Oculus headset, but I will let other people's experiences on YouTube snap me out of what I want to do in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, that's crazy. I don't know. I think I started to be thinking I'm like addicted to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be having that running so much. Sometimes I'll just be driving, listening to a debate in the car, yo. Am I the only person be doing that? I don't listen to like the radio unless I'll listen to Christian radio, believe it or not. Not like Christian music, but those pastors who be on AM radio talking that stuff. I'll be listening to that while I'm driving. I don't listen to too much hip hop while I'm riding and stuff. I don't know why. Oh, you got an Oculus, bro? Oh man! All right, we gotta find out who all got their Oculuses or whatever. How you say oculi? Who all has oculi? Because you can't say Oculuses. Yeah, I got an Oculus. You got your Oculus. We gotta start getting into that. What? You can get into the metaverse with a regular computer. Okay, Miss Lamb, I'm glad you letting me know that I'm not, well, we might both be addicted to YouTube or whatever, but I'll be like, man, you got this thing running too much. Sometimes I force myself to turn it off, though. But if we all got Oculuses, or the majority of us, we got to start linking up in the metaverse. I play games, too. Just on the Oculus though. War games, I done got really too good. I done got so good. See, it's always something for me to try to reach a level of mastery, and I don't mind doing it in simulated spaces. Like, I don't mind doing that. I grew up playing hella games, but now you got a family and you can't do that. So you get a Saturday morning, I'd rather go fishing than be on my Oculus headset. But then what snatched me back to this virtual world, I even messed my eyes up staring at these computers so much, man. But what snatched me back here was a vice that got put in the system because I wanted to go have an activity. So I started researching the activity, looking at the fishing holes I want to go to. And instead of, while the sun's still coming up, because you know you want to get there at sunrise. That's why I'm up so early. So the sun coming up, I'm sitting there watching them on YouTube. Like, ooh, they catching. Ooh. Laying in the bed, the sun up. So that's really a vice to pull you back. All that information is good that we get, but we can't become information like freaks. You know what I mean? I be doing that, dude. You addicted to the live streams? I feel like I am kind of too. Like I even be watching, like, I watch Moore's World TV until he get on my nerves, yo, with the way he be acting. But I watch everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then I just be like, why am I watching this? Dude, I was watching Inky when he was just doing nothing on Instagram. I mean, whatever. Just sitting there, just talking for 20 hours. Dude, I'll have my shit run on. That's something we got to see what's up with that. I think it's the new addicted to information. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I'm not even trying to be in my information bag. I like that bag, and we can go into that always. Love being in the hip-hop bag with y'all because it's most inspirational because I really don't even trip like that on my day-to-day. You know what I'm saying? But really just tapping in on real life, blood. That's the best type of chills and talks. Matter of fact, I do got a number on this show. What's the number? Somebody want to call in and build. I think I had, it's 1919-727-4633. 1919-727-4633. So I'm working with somebody because we're doing the cryptocurrency project and I'm working with a lot of people. And one of the marketing people I'm working with was telling me how much she didn't know about our music. And that's definitely, first I'll start to say, that's not a strike against her. Me, I'm a grown man, I'm humble. Maybe when I was younger, I'd have probably put a frown on my face and been like, well, if you don't know about my music, if you just now learning about the music, you don't need to be working on the project. But at this age, I understand that people who don't know your music is one thing, but it doesn't take anything away from a person who has another skill that they want to add to what you're doing that don't know nothing about your music. But then she talking about hip hop, and then I'm starting to be like, hold on a little bit. Because then now you're talking about hip hop as if you ain't just on the base level of hip hop. And so then my spidey senses start being like, well, hold on then. If you present yourself as a base level hip hop person and you saying you don't know nothing about our music, I understand that. But you trying to now act like you've been going beneath the surface of hip hop in the underground and you don't know nothing about hieroglyphics? Peace, Rock Parker. What's up? Peace, Denzel. You know what I'm saying? I started to be like, man, all right, let's change the subject because I started thinking too hard along those lines. Like, come on now, don't play that game. But again, like I said, you can't be on some, I wasn't on that. I was more or less just like, okay, I'm about to use you for a service, but now, at first it appeared that you only had a surface level knowledge of hip hop. Now you're trying to show me you had a deeper level, but you didn't know about what we doing. So what's wrong here? And I just didn't even want to keep going further down the what's wrong here lines, like this could blow the whole thing up. But don't tell people shit more than like 3 times, yo. Like if you like my music and we kicking it, don't say that shit more than 3 times. Cause it take you out of it change our chill. Somebody said, "What's the call-in number?" Let me pull up that call-in phone real quick. That's a Google phone, right? Let me see. Give you the call-in number. Just build for a moment. Saturday morning talk. See if I can get this right. Calling number is 919-727-4633. 919-727-4633. Call in and build about whatever you tripping off. Whatever, it's good. I'm going to put it over like this so we can read the comments. Let me see. Somebody said, she don't know to hook the cafe, don't work with it. Yeah, see, that's some backpack. That's how we used to do it. What's up with my man Pure Black? I see you. Indian, I see Indy. What's up? But that's how we used to do back in the 90s. You don't know the words. I mean, but now you know. If you like wanted to be on some fraternity and hip hop, yeah. If you don't know, like, if you don't know, somebody wrote it on the screen. I was just about to talk about Dabalina. And you already,
Call from
Jay.
You already mentioned it. Let me see if I can get
to
this
accept,
audio
press
right.
1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Yo, what's up?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Oh, I gotta accept. I gotta press 1. Yo.
What's good, big homie?
What's up? You might have to turn down the YouTube now that we talking live. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Peace. What's the word this morning?
I just had a question for you. You got something to build on?
Let's go.
So, on the temple, on the outside of Hathor's temple, there's a glyph that looks like magic mushrooms growing out of like a spawn bag. That I wanted to get if you could translate, or do you know about that? Number one, and two, could you translate what it says around it? Because it's a glyph talking about that. What is your perspective on that?
So you said the Temple of Hathor. We're gonna do you do you know what wing is on? Is on the which way is direction? I'm gonna try to pull it up.
You should better pull it up. I think it's pretty popular.
Put Temple of Hathor mushrooms maybe.
Yes.
Mushroom glyph. Let's see what we see. Where did you get this information from? What's your source of this being mushrooms or whatever?
Well, I'm not sure it's mushrooms. So my perspective is it looks like mushrooms, and it's at this temple where only the priests and the pharaohs will go in. So when I add it all together, I don't think it's mushrooms that you're putting inside a steak sandwich. I think there's something happening inside this temple that they're talking about. But I just typed it on my Google search, Temple of Hathor and Mushroom, and all the pictures, the one I'm talking about, comes up.
All right, let me see. I'm looking at something. See if I can share my screen. So, you see my screen?
Hold on, let me
Oh yeah, because the YouTube is going to be a little bit behind what we are talking, I think. But on the screen, I just Googled briefly what you discussed, and this reads, A wall relief of mushroom basket in the Temple of Hathor, Dendera. B, A pillar with a fan of an oyster-shaped top on the Temple of Philae in Aswan. And the C mushroom relief in Edfu. So I think it should be, I guess this is the first one, figure A. But I thought it would show us 3 things. C is over here, C is over here. This is a mushroom as well, supposedly, they say. And so, what is the question?
I just want to see if you could translate it for me. I was wondering, because I can't read the Meta Nature. Are they talking about some kind of spiritual experience in the glyphs and next to it?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's discuss how the process of what the process of translating this would be. Right here, we typically see items. So let me just start from the beginning. If I was going to start this, I would start at the top of this column right here and try to read it down here. What we see here is a series of glyphs that represent words, but I don't think this is meant to be read as a sentence. This is more like whatever she's presenting, whatever's being presented. And again, we see another offering table, and this would be the second inscription that you read. Now, if basically the process of reading this would not be like, okay, it says Michael walked down the street and went to the bar. It's more of a study and specifically a parsing process that would have to take place, and we would even have to be able to see possibly the beginning of the sentence. So what I see right now is some words and series of letters that we could possibly make out some things and then pull open other tools to corroborate what we're saying, but we probably wouldn't get that far. So basically, let me pull out a tool to corroborate what I'm saying as we start to do what I'm going to do. I'll pull out Mark Vargas's dictionary. It should be in my files.
Do you know what? Do you know what's in the other hand she's holding, in the opposite hand of the mushroom? What is that?
No, I haven't. I've never even seen either of these two items. They're not like they're. I think they might be unique to this inscription, if I'm not mistaken. But because this is the first time I'm seeing this. But if you were to start up here and to start trying to parse this, it would be something. We'd be at. I wouldn't call this high. This would be like a Ka symbol of spirit. It looks like the two hands being held up with the X in between it. Obviously, we're not doing this correctly because we be wanting to see what the rest of the sentence up here says. But sometimes you just got to go with what you got to go with. And in that sense, and then it's funny because you see these outstretched arms. Can you follow my mouse?
Yes.
Yeah, these outstretched arms is like if you held your arms like touchdown or field goal. It kind of means like to praise, and it would get back to a symbol of the Ka, which is the spirit. And so what I was saying is funny is that you see another piece of it over here too, if you follow my mouse. And so, but again, we're not doing a translation. And so, but what if I was to just, by my limited knowledge, I see something like Ha. And then there's more people who read metal that you're in the audience as well. I see something like Ha. And then this is not me. This is like a KH sound with a Q and a new pot. But now the process would be seeing if I parse this correctly and then going to look up what this word might mean. Then we see the determinative right here under it. So now that'll let us know that these three symbols are a word. And this determinative right here means it's an outstretched arm holding a little leaf. I gotta make this bigger somehow. If I'm making it bigger.
Yeah, I'm not seeing your screen on the YouTube page.
Oh, at all? Y'all not seeing my screen on YouTube? It looked like it's on my thing it's showing. Hold on, let me ask somebody else. On YouTube, inside of my broadcaster, it appears to be showing my screen, but
oh never mind. I'm back. I was behind in the video. I'm up to date now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, it's going to be a little behind, and so when I'm talking, you probably going to be seeing a few seconds behind me. So were you seeing what I was talking about when I said the coglyph and then this determinative right here?
Yeah.
Well, I can't make it any bigger, but this is like somewhat of a strength determinative. Then we see the N word, which is like a conjunction, and what I can't really make out, which looks like a harpoon that I know from this glyph. But at this point, only word I made out was something about Ka for the spirit, which in this instance might be used as a Ha for praise. But I'm not going to get too far doing this like this. And so what I was trying to say is we don't want to misrepresent what a study of reading the glyphs and what it details and what it takes. We could probably get through this with the help of some tools we have in the next 20, 30 minutes and actually get to the bottom of it, which I don't really mind. And I know I got other brothers who could corroborate what I'm saying on the screen. But yeah, that would be like a little study, a study or a process to get to the bottom of it. But I could keep going along. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought this would be a great a building topic, because how I come to this conclusion is through my study of psychedelics. And what I posit is that I don't know about what percentage of the wisdom, I don't even want to say all, but a significant amount of the wisdom of the ancestors came from going into these altered states and having a psychedelic experience. So from when I look at all the history from my perspective, I kind of interpret it with this psychedelic perspective. You know what I mean? So I think one of the things important to understand is the knowledge and the perspectives of people when you go through the psychedelic experience, like what they're saying. I think is very important to this equation of understanding the context of what the ancestors were saying.
I agree. Let me see if we can. Now I got this tool open, so since we can make it a study, because I love doing this. I'm not really fresh on my glyphs, so anybody studying right now, feel free to. I mean, I've been working on crypto, and all of my studies been going into researching other things, and so I really ain't fresh on this right now. But I'm about doing this. Always helps us get up to speed. So what I'm using, the tool that you'll see I'm using is called Mark Vigas's dictionary. And what I want to start doing is corroborating what I say some of these things mean. You see these outstretched arms right here?
Yeah, I can see.
So they'll pop up momentarily, probably on the screen in the dictionary. And we'll see is what I said, the same thing right here is in the dictionary saying soul and spirit. And so I'm just going to wait a little moment. I'll lag the presentation so that the YouTube could catch up. And so I was like, yeah, we see an X, and then we see the outstretched arms, which look like you're doing a field goal, saying a good field goal. And I said it represents the spirit, and they have the soul or the spirit in the definition. So then I said we see like a KH sound, a Q, and a new ball. Now, I want one of my people in the chat who read Metal Netter to correct me on what I call this KH sound right here. But it looks, and I can't make it bigger, so I have to figure out a way to make this work. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Or maybe if 400, 500 is not making a difference. I gotta save the image, and then make it bigger. Yeah, so while I'm doing this, let me hear more about how you came to those conclusions that these author states, if not from translating the glyphs or what you're seeing in the glyphs, how you come to the conclusions that we got a lot of the knowledge from visiting author states.
Man, I can give you 1,100 examples.
All right, you're welcome to.
All right, so one example of healing. One of the things that I think is worthy to study of is like a shaman, for example. The term shaman, which, mind you, is like a general term, doesn't really have, it originates, I believe, in Siberia, where that term comes from, but people have been healing and mastering energy since the beginning of time. So that's not a new thing. That don't just start in Siberia, that term shaman. But what I'm saying is, yes.
That's where that term is supposed to start?
Yes.
Okay.
But people have been doing that way before the Siberia in that term, but my point is, studying these people, you come to profound understandings. One of the things, for example, is a fascinating thing called like soul loss. Soul loss. And what soul loss is, whenever you have a traumatic event, it is possible for your there's a field around you, a field of energy. Now this is, sometimes we start going in the field of energy, you're going beyond what regular people understand about energy, because energy is like a discipline, it's a science. And that's what these people are doing with psychedelics and shamans, what they're going into. But when you have a traumatic event, part of your soul or your energy, what I mean by soul, I don't mean like a spook sense of soul. When I say soul, or the shaman people say soul, the psychedelic people say soul, we're talking about energy. So a part of your field gets trapped in that space and time of the traumatic event. And what you would do if you had a healing with a shaman, you would go through a healing experience with them, and the shaman would go into another time, because mind you, time is an illusion. All there really is now, which is something you won't know unless you deal with psychedelics. You actually experience what it is to be outside of time. But the shaman goes to another time and retrieves your soul and communicate and has to negotiate with your soul to come back with you and rejoin you again. Because once your soul separates from you, it has this universal effect of free will. So everything has free will, is when the laws of nature. So the shaman goes into a different space and time and has a conversation with this piece of energy that you left behind. And in this is the healing process of bringing that part of energy back to you, and you regain your energy.
So whose shaman did this? Like the shaman of Siberia? Are you saying a more ancient practice that was had before that term was used there? Like whose teachings are those?
So in each context, you deal with people who are like medicine men or magic people or shamans. There ain't no official term. So it's like an arm, for example, we talking like a biology. It don't matter what the word is. It just matters that we can come up with a label that we all agree upon, so we know what we're talking about. So shaman is just like that label that we mean when we say magical, or they're traveling into altered states. They have traveling into space outside of time. Those people, because whether it's in Haiti, we're talking about the voodoo priestess. If we're talking shaman in Siberia, we're talking the shamans in South America doing the ayahuasca ceremonies. If we're talking the shamans that do mushroom ceremonies, or in Africa, the Iboga ceremonies, if you're familiar with that. I think they do that in Gabon, Africa, is where the Iboga shamans are. All of these people are saying similar things, but.
And so your research is to see if that same, those same things are said in ancient times, or those same practices occurred in ancient times?
No, it's pretty much like healing, for example, and just the perspective of these shamans, the knowledge that you would get in psychedelic experience from talking to psychedelic people and the shamans is like, for example, another example. What do you think the false beard means in the pharaohs? Like when they had the false beard, what is your perspective on what does that symbolize, and what does that mean?
I don't got too big a perspective on what that means. What does it mean to you? Or what does it mean in Egyptology, to you?
So Egypt, I hate the word Egyptology, just like you do. You know
yeah, I said that for a reason. Like, what does it mean in academia is what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I'm saying is over the head of academia.
Mm-hmm. So let's go to both answers. First, what do they say it means, and then what do you say it means?
I believe they say it has something to do with masculinity, especially when a female has it. That what she's saying is she can rule like a man, that she's in the place of a man or in the position of a man. So it's something that deals with masculinity, I believe, is what the Egyptologists say it has to do with.
Okay, let's look. We'll look into that, and then what? And now, what's the point of it that went over their head?
It's about electromagnetism. So if you type in a picture, if you want to pull it up, type in the sun setting on the horizon of water. And in that picture, if you know what I'm talking about, like the sun will be over the water, and then underneath the sun, in the reflection of the water, you will see this long orange thing coming from the bottom, the reflection of the sun. Do you know what I'm talking about? That line, the reflection of sunlight that comes underneath the sun when it's setting over a body of water. That thing, that is what the false beard is talking about. So the classic thing, like as above, so below. So the pharaoh's head would be the sun. Then you have the ecliptic plane, which is the horizon. Horizon come from Ra, horizon. And then underneath that, as above, so below, you have the sun reflection coming underneath.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, you know, I ain't trying to have a debate morning, but a lot of that is, I would ask for some sources on a lot of that. You know what I'm saying?
But
even on the false beard representing masculinity, but me being one who more or less deals with the grammar and less of ancient Egyptian spirituality, I think a person who was on that vibe would possibly say so more accurately. So you seem to have been doing research in those fields. I would just ask for a source on some of the stuff you said. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's why I would ask you to build with me, because from the perspective of someone that has psychedelics or had these altered states or these journeys that you go on from these spiritual experiences, like the mushroom that's in the glyph, we don't even frame this conversation as something that needs to be verified by someone else. You see, there's two types of spirituality. Like religion is faith-based spirituality, and from what you get from the psychedelics is experience-based spirituality. So the deepest lessons of the universe, you ain't gonna get no cosign. You have to go verify it for yourself. So a lot of things that I could say can't be verified by easily, because we're going over that head. You have to, if you want it verified, you have to go to the jungle and go drink ayahuasca and go see for yourself. This is the highest level. They're not going to get someone else's cosign. We're going into ancient lessons of the universe. So keep going. Say King's Tut, his golden mask. That is the natal chart. It's about the zodiac. So, and what is the zodiac? What's the study of stars?
Can you say that again one more time? I'm trying to get the name of the false beard. I forgot what it was, so we could go in on it and see. I thought it was something like the Po Chief, but the Medu Neter term for that false beard. Somebody, all right, so yeah, people in the crowd saying different things, but I want to hear someone tell me the name of the false beard. Do you know? I thought it was the Po Chief. I'm trying to Google.
Yeah, I thought it was the name you just said too, something with POIS, something like that. I thought that's what it was too.
Yeah, but it's not coming up. Oh, okay. Metal false. Yeah, POSTI. Yeah, okay, so I guess this is correct. So I was putting in the wrong. I was putting in Po Chief, but it says Post Chief. I guess it's spelled just different. But this is like a metal false. Oh, so this is a white man's false beard. And so, I mean, you know, this is not saying that was what the ancient Egyptian one was called. That's what I mean. But I want to get to the root of that before I start trying to say why I don't agree with some of that stuff. But you can keep talking while we do that research. And I'm not, you know, again, I'm not trying to debate. I just want to see if
I'm down for a debate.
Okay.
I mean, you should be able to defend whatever it is you're saying. I think that's what intelligent people do, is to say how are you standing on what you're standing on. That's just what intelligent people do.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop baby talking you and walk.
Yeah, you ain't gotta do me like that.
Because first of all, none of that means none of that you were just talking about. You feel me? But I don't like to do that. So we're gonna get down to why, and we found this term which they say I even want to hear them pronounce it, so I'm gonna let Google pronounce it. And so what I often do is just go right here and pop it in Google, pull it up, so we can do the knowledge right. Where's the pronunciation, Google? Let's just see. And then we about to get it in real quick.
Pastiche.
Yeah, so I said it kind of right. I said po-chief, but now my screen doing this blackout stuff.
Pastiche.
Pastiche. Okay, it's a pastiche. So the claim is that the pastiche was worn because it was a ray of sunlight, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to misappropriate the term, but so tell me why you said it was worn again, and we'll deal with it.
Why it was what?
Why the pastiche or the false beard was worn again.
Oh, what it symbolizes.
What it symbolizes
is the sunlight reflection beneath the horizon, coinciding with the term "as above, so below," and the sun setting on top of the horizon would be the pharaoh's head, which is we also. There's more connections to this. Like, my connection don't just stop with the beard. It's going to keep going. And at some point, if I'm talking to someone, you're going to run out of rebuttals to say, well, it's not this in this case. Okay, well, we'll go to the next case. Well, it's not that in that case. Okay, we go to this case, because just like anything else is like law of attraction. How do you know something is true? It's because it's true in every case. Law of attraction, if we're talking chemistry, if we're talking biology, if we're talking no matter what we're talking about, if we're talking about water, if we're talking about cells, if we're talking about astrophysics, it's the same principles of law of attraction, positive, negative, the same thing. So typically when something isn't true, it's only true in this one instance. And when we go to another instance or another, this is this theme about electromagnetism and the sun worship. Everything is going around this. So it's like King Tut's face mask is a symbol of the zodiac chart. The reason why it's in gold, his tomb is in gold and his mask is in gold, and the theme of gold is because it's the same color as the sun. It's not that gold is valuable, like from our perspective, it's, oh man, gold is expensive. No, this is about sun worship. Or to even say sun worship is a lack of understanding. But mind you, we're talking about the wisdom that you get from psychedelics, from going in, leaving space and time, and you going around in this state and what you experience and what you learn, which this ain't for regular people. You're speaking over their head now, because when you go outside of space and time, you stop being human and you become everything. You become the whole universe. This is the point of having the psychedelic experience. That's why the mushrooms is on the wall in Hathor. They're saying that if you want knowledge, you're not going to get it from the cosign of some academic scholar. You have to go and leave space and time and go to the universe. That's where the real answers are.
Yeah, that will be just intuitive, intuition. We understand that knowledge can be obtained without having a book or something. But we're in a world where many people research the things that we also research, and we can't pass up their work because we have intuition. Like, we also would want to peruse their work to see if they came to the same intuitive conclusions. And so, you know what I mean? Just because it's not found in the book don't mean it's fake. But just because we got it without reading books don't mean that we shouldn't refer to a body of work to see if others have looked over that theory and came to other conclusions. But to deal with these one by one, we'll deal with the what they say, the pastiche and then the Tutankhamun's tomb. And so they say here it's any item of false hair worn on the head or the face, such as a false beard or a wig. Now, if we go to Egyptian false beard, we could just look at images of these, and then we'll start to get into this. And so, like I said in the beginning, when trying to, avoid a debate or whatever, I just was like, I'm not into Egyptian religion that much, but I know enough to know that, I know enough to defend against the claims that this Pochief has anything to do with a ray of the sunlight. Particularly, it comes into creation from earlier deity, a deified being. I think we see here, Wuser, Asar, and Asar first. Even we'll see, even Narmer having whatever. We don't know if this is a false beard or not, but I want to talk about Wuser, these are people just representing themselves as Asar. But one thing that happens to a deity, or not to a deity, but to a Nisut.
Can you show the picture of the sun and the water and the reflection? Can you show that picture as well?
So how do I get to the picture of the sun and the water and the reflection?
Just go into Google Images and type in sun setting over water.
Sun.
I think it's only fair for the viewers to have an image of what I'm trying to say, just so they can have an image of it.
This is what you're talking about?
Where I'm at now, you're still on the page with the,
I feel you.
statues.
It should pop up in a moment.
Yeah, sun setting over water.
Yeah, I got a few images up right now. I don't know if it's, but the one that would probably justify what you're saying the most up on the screen.
That's it. Perfect.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying it is.
Yeah, now you're really not there, because we have names for these deities, and specifically when I say these deities, celestial bodies, we often know that the sun is Ra, right?
Mm-hmm. Horizon. Ra is in horizon, which is what you're looking at, is horizon. Horizon
but that
means
ain't
sun.
how that really works, because that is English. To say that Horakti, Ra Horakti, Hor Akit. Akit is mountain. Akit is the horizon. So Ra on the horizon was Ra Horakti. It was just a little bit different, but I hear what you're saying about horizon, but that's like we talking in English. They didn't speak in English.
But no problem. I'm not saying it's a translation. I'm saying it's where it comes from, like an etymology. So the words change over time. So the meaning it has now is not going to be the meaning it was in its inception. That's common understanding of etymology. The word changes, but that don't negate the origin of where the word comes from. So wouldn't that be a point for me, if you want to say if we're debating, wouldn't it be a point for me that I give you a picture that is very symbolic, very similar to the pharaoh's head and the chin and the horizon? All these things are in the picture with any other pictures you show with the fake beard, and then it's on the horizon, and Ra, the sun, is in the word horizon, which is what we're looking at.
No, that's not right. That's so far out that I wouldn't be able to accept it, because I could just show you like a picture of some clouds with a chemtrail protruding from a head and say the same things. Furthermore, the sun don't appear on a body of water like this, nor did they have such a body of water to observe, seeing that they were on the Nile. They were on the Nile. They wasn't on they wasn't on the Mediterranean to be able to, when they were developing this culture. You see what I'm saying? And so that would not even be an observation that they could make in BC times when walking along a river that sometimes don't even span wide enough for certain vessels to pass by. You know what I'm saying? At certain points, or certain cataracts maybe. It gets wide in certain instances, but we also got to assume that this is like a far out theory. But instead of trying to go against what you're saying, I'll propose what I thought and still think it had to do with each Nisut earning their false beard once they turned into what was called a wuser, and which only happens when you die. And so this is why you see the Hanchif or whatever she said it was called. Again, I want to get that right, on their nabank, or on their sarcophagus, as some would call it, or even his that's not a tomb, but casket or whatever. It's called a nabank, meaning every life, neb-ankh, every life goes into it. And so they would only get this representation when turning into what's called a waser. And let's go over that here. Waser, which would be the first deity. Oh, they don't know Waser. Let me see. Which would be the first deity, Asar, basically. Or I would have to probably type Osiris. And so now we look at the representation of Osiris is probably one of the initial representations of a human with the divine, or with the Pochief, whatever. And so again, as you die, when Tadak Amen, there's a few epithets and a few ritualistic things that happen upon death. And one of them is trying to see if your words were ma'akaru, M-A-A karu, which means words are justified. And so I'll try to yeah, here we go, right here. See, it says ma'akaru. YouTube is going to validate a lot of the things that I'm trying to say too. So right here, besides earning your false beard, which means that you were a waser, you would also earn a statement called ma'akaru. And this would only be on your funerary, or on your, it basically means that your words were justified as you were living. And so I'm just giving instances of different things that happen upon you becoming a waser. If you are ma'akaru, is a phrase meaning truth of voice or justified, or a claim given to him as the acclaim given to him is right. The term is involved in ancient Egyptian afterlife beliefs, according to which deceased souls had to be judged morally. Now, after this judgment, and you are proven to be ma'akaru, you become a what? You become a wuser, which is, let me see. You become Osiris, so to speak. And now if we look at the Osiris never lived or died and had nothing to do with the rays of the sun, and Ra in his grander images possibly, I don't think Ra in his anthropomorphic form even rocks a beard. But let's see. We see User here amongst Hathor and Horus, maybe Horus the younger, with his beard on. Again, we see Waser here. Waser here, and if I'm not right, this is okay, the deity, whatever. This is a deity being represented. I mean, this is a Nisu being represented as Hoser. User. This is obviously Ramses or something. User, Ma'at, Ra. So this is an easy one. But this says something different. This says Satep, Amen, whatever. So this is, but again, that is what I would propose happens when they're using that false beard and placing it on. And we could lead to sources that probably say the same thing, but I don't mean to filibuster.
So all right. So let me respond to some of the things you're saying. So one, this is why I think the study of psychedelics, or what the people who are doing psychedelics, it's important to have what they're saying and bring that to the equation. So, for example, if I start questioning you on what is the afterlife, I think you're not going to be able to respond to me. So, for example, I would say anyone who uses the term afterlife, does not understand what's happening. So, for example, what people are getting from the psychedelics, the shamans, these magical journeys, from the mushrooms that's on the wall in Hathor Temple, is there is no past and there is no future. All there is now. So what they would say is that it's like a misnomer when people say afterlife or they say past life. So that's another term that people use. It's actually everything is happening now. It's what the people who are doing psychedelics are saying. So when you say afterlife or use a term that other people use of afterlife, that lets me know that it's coming from a real place. There is someone that's having direct experience about what's happening. And then there's periphery people that aren't directly connected to those people, and they're trying to translate with the best they can, the best of their understanding, what those people are saying. Like what I'm saying. Like, for example, when Jesus comes in and he says, for example, say, they went to Jesus and said in the Bible, what's the best commandments? And his response back to them was, first, love thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul. And the second one, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, someone, because this is something you got to take in consideration too, is people, it's like Christianity. There's multiple ways that you can interpret Christianity. And people say now that what you get from the Bible isn't the accurate way to interpret Christianity. People, it's been tampered with and taking a different context in how it was meant. The same thing is happening back in ancient Egypt. It don't matter what you can cite from them, because the people that were writing it down had it incorrect. They weren't the sources. They were absorbing these things from someone that's around them. So with the afterlife, so the Ankh, for example, why is the Ankh? What's the point of making this symbol that says eternal life? What they're saying is there is no past and there is no future. All there is now. That's the meaning of eternal life.
See?
If you went to someone, go ahead.
Nowhere you added an adjective onto what Ankh means. Ankh don't mean eternal life, it means life. But to put eternal at the beginning of it, it puts it in a religious context that has never been used in. Ankh just means life. You there?
The Ankh has 4 points, just like the cross. Why does it have 4 points?
Not because it means eternal life. When we look at it from a grammatical perspective, we got words for eternal. Nehi means eternal. So if you say Nehi Ankh, now you're talking about eternal life or a life forever. But I could corroborate all this hella easy. Look, check it out. You can still see my screen, right? So I could just write forever. And we're going to see Nehi pop up. Just because I put forever would be an easier way to say eternal forever. Let's see. So they put jet. That's another way to say it. But forever or soon, all days. Okay, I'm looking for Nehi, which I probably eternity. Here we go. So you see the NAH. Let me show you what I mean. So on the screen, the viewers can see it says Nehi forever. It also used the neighbor, which has something to do with Nubia, but we'll talk about that on another turn. In order to say eternity or forever, there's a term and it's often used. So if we wanted to put Nehi in front or after a life to say eternal life, we could do that hella easy. And so that's all I'm saying. It's not religious or it's not like eternal life. It's just Ankh is just an Ankh. Everything ain't spiritual in Kemet.
But my what I would posit is the symbol is greater than the words that you're associating with the language. That there's a limitation to language. There's a few books. One good book, I forget about it. But it's pretty much symbolism and the symbolique. Do you know what I'm talking about? Symbolism. That I believe that book is making the point that people don't see the world as it is; they see it as they are, which means they only notice evidence for things they already believe. So it's like same thing like with ants. If we went down to ants and took the words that they were using to communicate, that may not be effective to communicate what's happening in a human realm, because our realm is so much more advanced. Their way of communication is going to fall short by the higher level that we're at. It's the same thing with humans. Humans, language cannot express God's meaning. God's level that he can communicate is not the same as human language. So we have to get past this somehow. One of the ways we get past this, going all the way back to the beginning, is by using symbols, because symbols carry more meaning than words do. Words is where people get lost in the sauce, trying to understand it in words. But it goes beyond words to what these symbols start implying meaning that goes beyond everything that we can encapsulate with words.
Okay. And so with that being said,
go ahead.
It would behoove us to learn the symbols of ancient Egypt. And specifically in the case of the deity here, we see in its anthropomorphic form, Ra, which represents the sun, yet we don't see him with any divine beard when anthropomorphized or when brought into human form. And that's very notable because Ra represents Re, I call him Ra, some say Re. Ra represents the sun. But when we see Ra on the solar disc or on the solar boat, he's represented in a form like this, Ra Harakti, which doesn't have, he don't even have a human head. So to say that, but again, if they wanted to use symbols to show us things, and this symbol is representative of the sun, then they wouldn't have to go to another deity and put a false beard on that deity to make reference back to the sun, because they already got a deity about the sun. They would have simply done that with this deity.
But all right, can you give me this? Would it be fair to say, if I was using an analogy at this time, that if you went to a church and you seen a white Jesus statue inside the church, that would be inaccurate to what the original meaning was? Would you see, Lau, just because there were people that were worshiping the white-looking Jesus inside the church, or where people that call themselves Christians are, does not mean that that's an authority on what Jesus is or the meaning of it is. Do you see what I'm saying? How people,
I see what
they
you're saying.
Take a symbol and they go with it their own way. So by pointing out that there's a church where there's a statue of a white-looking Jesus, or what they're reading as literal from the Bible, that this literal interpretation of the Bible is incorrect. That, you see what I'm saying? Just because people were,
I see what you're saying,
that wouldn't say anything about the source of where Christianity came from.
It wouldn't.
No, that's just some people, just like in that time, the same thing is taking place in that time.
But that analogy doesn't apply here.
Go ahead.
It doesn't apply here. Because what
it
we're
does
looking
in my
at,
world.
no, it's actually, no, we have factors. What I'm saying is, this is not like, see, this is really on the temples, ancient Egyptian temples. And we're not going by what anyone says it means. We can read the glyphs. And so, therefore, if we walked into a Christian church and we seen a white Jesus on the wall, we're talking about a bastardization of a true image. But this wouldn't be able to be considered that, because this is simply a facsimile of what we actually see on the walls in Kemet. And so there's not really any bastardization going on here to try to distort the image and make it look like something else. We don't even have to look at this wiki page. I'm just doing this for learning purposes. But we can simply type in Ra, Egyptian god, and look at him on the walls of Egypt. And so I don't think that rebuttal would take away the fact that we see ancient Egyptians representing the sun in an anthropomorphic and in a zoomorphic form, like, you know what I'm saying? They didn't choose to put the head of a human on on this deity, and even if they use a falcon's head, they did not put a pochief or whatever it's called, pochief, whatever, beard on him. And so that would be almost be like a checkmate for your theory, but we could go further because we do know why they put the false beard on. And to prove this, we're going to now have to use a few better tools. I'll let you get it in while what I'm going to do is refer to an ancient Egyptian text corpus, and we'll look at how these things were actually used on the walls of Egypt. And while if you want to rebut or say anything about what
I love the build and us going back and forth on these perspectives, because I think it gets to what I think is the biggest point for me, which is this. Jokingly, Kanye West said he made in one of his rants, he was like, man, we got a class in school on history, but we ain't got no class of the future. And that is profound way of looking at this, that by studying the past doesn't mean you understand now. And that's what I think the heaviest part about this is that all our research and all our wisdom on what we're trying to cultivate is so that we can understand now. That is the greatest thing to understand. And I think my problem with history and my problem with Egyptology, or even people that study Egypt, is it's this way of looking at it like we're going to understand now by understanding the past. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's many people can master the past and they still they haven't mastered now. They haven't mastered now. So if you haven't mastered now, if you don't know what's taking place now, it don't matter if you study the past or the future, you're still going to have an inaccurate interpretation. So it's like with the people with Egypt, for example, all these people talking about they worship the sun. They personified the sun. They anthropomorphized the sun. And then when you start questioning them and asking them why, this is where my rebuttal to you is. You're going to fall short. You're going to say, I don't know. I don't know why they're going out of their way to personify the sun. What's the metaphysics on why King Tut tomb is all gold? What's the reason behind that? What are they trying to say? Now, to understand that, you don't get that from solely understanding the past. You have to understand now to speak to why they are anthropomorphizing the sun, because what the message that they were saying back then is still true now. What they were pointing at is still true. So if you go to the Egyptologists and you ask them, well, what does this mean now? They can't tell you. Their only use of their information is to look backwards. There is no understanding of how you take that information and apply it to now, which is why I say, man, the people that study psychedelics, that's our strong point. The strong point of the psychedelic people is we understand now. We go outside of space and time for our journeys, for our wisdom, for where we learn from. So when you go outside space and time and you come back, you have a much better perspective on where these symbols are coming from and what they mean. If that makes any sense.
I hear the angle you're trying to take, but it's not like knowing what the beard. Let's just put what you said in a workable context. We're talking about what the beard, the false beard meant, and you saying that application of knowing that in the here and now, and no, that don't work with this, because we're simply talking about something we found on ancient Egyptian artifacts that were just a simple item. I mean, we found out what it means already, but it doesn't really seem like works with this. Let's talk about what we have in front of us, though. We have the papyrus of Imhotep, son of Pachentohe. Pachentohe, I don't know why they said that. Pachent is really a word for an ancient Egyptian crown, but this is a Greek word for it. So they called him Pachentohe, but his name would be like Sekemti something, because Pachent ain't even. This is in Ptolemaic times, but it's about his false beard. And this is what I want you to see, what they call it. the ritual of transfiguration of Osiris. Let's be clear about that. And why are they calling that? The transfiguration, changing figures of Osiris, which is Wuser, which I talked about. But this is not about Wuser. It's about the ritual of changing into him. Okay? It's a document, a papyrus of Imhotep's son. Imhotep, who is the son of Pashent Ohé. Now let's deal with this, because just understanding the title, we can already see this is going to be a checkmate piece. This is a papyrus in the Ptolemaic times of a man named Imhotep, who was the son of Pashent, but it's about a ritual he's doing to change into Osiris. Now let's see what it reads. Perfect are the ears that hear the pleas of millions. Osiris Kentiaminti. See, they saying Chontamenti, but this really says over here Kentiamintiu. So I understand this character, and it's very crucial that I explain this. Osiris Kentiamintiu and Osiris Imhotep blessed here. Now this is what's happening. Imhotep is dead or whatever on this papyrus or whatever. If he's changing into a Wuser, he should be deceased. And we see he's Ma'akaru right here, like I explained earlier, that Ma'akaru, before you get your beard, you have to be deemed Ma'akaru. If I click on this term, it's going to say what I said it meant earlier, which is a justified person, the deceased. So we know he's dead. There's no one to be calling him Ma'akaru. So let's just deal with this. Deal with it, and let's get this back into English. So what we're going to show here is the transfiguration into Osiris. Perfect are the ears that hear the pleas of millions. Osiris Kentiamintiu, which is the deity, okay? And Osiris Imhotep, which is the newly deceased person. But now he's a Wuser. They're calling him Osiris. But in order for him to be transfigured into Osiris, he has to get all of the items of a Wuser. So watch it. Here's the perfect nose first. Perfect is your nose that receives the breath of air. Osiris Kentiamintiu and Osiris Imhotep. Blessed here. So the deity's nose is perfect, and so is the new dead person. Perfect is your mouth, which speaks. You speak of Horus. Put your mouth in you, Osiris Kentiamintiu and Osiris Imhotep. Blessed here. Your two lower jaws are perfect. Your face is firm, Osiris Kentiamintiu. Your eyebrows are perfect. Your beard shines with radius, Osiris Kentiamintiu and Osiris Imhotep. Now what is this saying? Because this is the transfiguration of Imhotep into Osiris. And so now we're seeing he got the perfect mouth, speaking of Horus. His lower jawbone is perfect in his death. And now he has the beard of the Nisut Osiris. He's getting all of these attributes of the deity upon his death to be considered. I'm trying to get this back into English. Just one moment. To be considered, translate to English. I don't know why they mess with me. To be considered, Ma'akaru, are to be considered justified or a good one. And so here we see it happening, and even they spoke on his, let's look at the term. What does it say? His divine beard. Maybe I went too far. I thought I just read it, but now as I go back over it, I don't even see them saying nothing about it. Beard. Perfect is your mouth, the two lower jaws. Here we go. Perfect is your beard. So let's go in on this just a little bit for learning purposes. Your eyebrows are perfect and your beard. Let's go look over into the Medu Neter. Tu is like toot. This is the image. This is something about whatever. And here's the beard. The divine beard. And one XBZ. Z. I mean, we only learning that much for that, and I don't intend to filibuster, but we did just point to a source where in the transfiguration of a deceased person, they inspected them and seen that their beard was just like Osiris. And this is what I was saying it represented.
And do you have, and this is my checkmate back to you, do you have any metaphysics or any meaning of what that means to today, what principle they are talking about? Can you expound at all on what is the symbolism? What are they speaking to with that? Or do you take that to be a literal meaning of what they're talking about? Or can you extract a symbol or a meaning from that?
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say becoming a Wusair was just, again, it was like an afterlife rite. If you lived your life in what they call, and I'm using the terms of Egyptology, I'm not using the terms of metaphysics. And so afterlife is defined as, once you leave, once you can't be found incarnate in the flesh anymore, you still are to be living, but just not in the flesh. And so afterlife rites would be, if you lived a justified life on earth, you would become a Usair in the afterlife, as strong as the deity of Sar, and being able to handle things as such. That's what I would say it meant.
So let me give some metaphysical breakdown to this.
Mm-hmm.
Which this is the science of now, not the science of the past. Which I think the highest science is the science of now. He who understands now is the highest level, not the one who understands the past.
But that's the metaphysics of now. It's not the science of now. The science of now is fueling technology. It's nothing you're going to say. Science. But it's not really. Metaphysics is beyond science. Metaphysics means beyond the physical. That's what metaphysics means. And so you feel me? Science don't mean beyond the physical. Science deals with the physical and things that are beyond the physical.
Is astrology metaphysics?
I wouldn't say
Astro
no.
means stars.
No,
that's
but I didn't
beyond
say
what's on Earth.
But I didn't say astrology was metaphysics, and it's not beyond the physical. Each celestial body is physical.
But all right. So this is what I would say to what you just said. So let's interpret it, because it's just like the Bible when it talks about, say, Jesus, for example, and the three stars in the east. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Are they talking about a literal 3 stars they're looking up and seeing? Or are they talking about Orion's belt? And we're talking astronomy.
Orion's belt are a literal 3 stars. That's what I'm saying. Those are stars. They are they are there, just like we're on this planet. Those are real things. That's not beyond the physical. That's not metaphysical.
I wasn't giving a physical example yet, but I'm just doing a comparison between, if we were talking religion present day,
mm-hmm.
when it talks about in the Bible Jesus and the 3 stars.
Mm-hmm. Those are 3 stars in the sky. They were really in the sky.
That's what I'm saying. But in the Bible it says 3 wise men. It don't say 3 stars. It's talking about 3 wise men.
Well, no. If it says 3 wise men, then they're talking about 3 wise men. If it says 3 stars, they're talking about 3 stars. Excuse me of my ignorance of what it actually said in the Bible, but my stance is clear. If they were referring to celestial bodies, those were real bodies in the sky.
It is. But this is my point of what I'm saying. So what's the significance of the 3 stars in Orion's belt? So now we can get into one of the star in the middle is not actually a star. It's actually a nebula or a star factory that gives birth to stars. And the ancients were saying that our sun and Sirius, what they say are binary, we're in a binary solar system with us and what the hell is the star? I just said, I forgot the name of it. Sirius. Us and Sirius are in a binary star relationship. That our suns come from this nebula that's in Orion's belt. That's the whole significance of Orion. So that's my metaphysical breakdown.
See what happened?
Jesus.
Let me tell you how to debate better. Stay on the point. Because a person like me will swoop in like a vulture when I see that you no longer want to discuss the things that we were debating.
No, I'm going there. I'm still going there.
No,
I'm
you
still
starting
going
talking
there.
about Orion's belt, the Bible, the three wise men, all of these things just to
Trust
make
me,
a point
I'm
for the
coming there.
people,
I'm
but
coming.
none of the points you made pertain to the topic about the false beard.
I'm coming. I am coming. I am coming. But I just want to build this up because to me, this is the checkmate. When I give you a present day example of the Bible saying in the Jesus verses, there's three wise men in the east, blah, 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 blah. These people are incorrect. It's not three wise men, though that's what their scripture says. It's actually talking about this astrological event. So my point, I'm giving you a real life example on how
But that's
there's
not
people at the inception of something that understand the beginning and why they said what they said, and then people follow them that repeat what they heard these people say, and then it starts the meaning of it starts changing. So what I'm saying is,
keep going. You can finish that. I didn't mean to interrupt.
it's more if someone is just studying the Bible verbatim, pretty much the whole freaking conscious community would say, that ain't how you do it. All that would mean to me, if you're studying the Bible literally, how you just literally brought up this old Egyptian religion, if you're looking at it literally, it means you don't understand the inception or what the original people were thinking. You are like everyone else that's following the popularization of it, what it morphs into, all these other things, the King James Version, the Episcopalian version, the Jehovah's Witness version, but none of those people have the real knowledge. So the debate is, what's the real knowledge? That's what we had these conversations for. What were the people in the inception, what were they thinking?
You know, a lot of the times, I don't want to say nothing like arrogant, but that word comes to mind when thinking about all of the scholars before us who just had to have been wrong, but you right, though. Right here,
But,
like no disrespect. I'm just saying, think of how pretentious that is of us. I bet you we couldn't even hold a conversation with some of these people about some of these topics. But then in our day and age right now, they is just so wrong and we right. But just to deal with some of the things, I'm not doing any of the things that you may be accusing certain people of. In these instances, I'm dealing with it, and I can read it myself. Again, like, we got enough knowledge for and enough tools for any of us to peruse this information without looking at how other people look at it. And so when I brought up a bunch of these sources that prove that the false beard didn't have anything to do with Ra or anything to do with being a ray of light, you didn't bring any more information. You didn't even say the word light again. You started talking about other things. And so I think anybody who's keen at noticing exactly how discourses transpire can understand what's going on here. Furthermore, I'm bringing forth more. I'm bombarding you with sources that prove, and they're from the text with sources. This is the pyramid of Unas, and as he dies and becomes a Wuser, we see what's happening here. You have come to your Ba. Your Ba is your soul. Osiris, Ba mightier. Why are they calling Unas Osiris? Because he's turning to Wuser, and in death he is represented as such. Osiris Unas. That means
Osiris is your soul. What is soul? Isn't soul synonymous with sun?
so. The Ba is your soul. Osiris is a deity that is like the most profound deity to be. And if you're Ma'akaru, you can live as a Wuser. It's just like saying the word God, so to speak. You can be a god, but they didn't have those terms. You would be a User. You would live as a User, and to be represented that you were one in death, they would show your false beard in the same way they showed his. And so, I'm sorry.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
So, just say we're talking about the Book of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't no such thing as death. Mm-hmm. This is what the enlightened people are going to make this argument. So I don't know if you're aware, if your position or awareness is only that of a historian. Because when I start saying that there ain't no such thing as death, I'm going beyond the scope of a historian now. You have to bring in another science. Your history isn't relevant anymore.
But that's not true. Even I will entertain what you're saying, and even in your realm of how you're thinking, that's not true. Because even if there was no death, there would still be a past and a future. So like what we talked about 10 minutes ago, what's in the past, whether there is death or not, that still transpired. And so dude, I've been doing this for hella long. I came off the stuff that you was doing to deal with what I was doing, because when having discourses like this, I could prevail. You see?
So, but I'm trying to arrive at this understanding. So when you say there's a past, I understand what you mean. But so another one of my evidences is why I go back to the beginning point where I showed you the mushrooms on the temple, is that have you listened to what the testimony is of people that do high doses of mushrooms is? Are you aware of that?
Pardon me? I'm sorry. Am I aware of what?
Are you aware of the testimonies that people give on high doses of mushrooms? Are you familiar with what that community of people are saying from their experiences? Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not familiar with. What are they saying? I'm familiar with my own testimonies on high doses of mushroom. What about yours? See, we had different levels of experience in this. So you talking about what other people do off high doses of mushrooms, and I can tell you what I done as a child off high doses of mushrooms.
I can tell you me too.
So let's talk about that.
Give me doing.
Does it line up with what the other people are telling you? Tell the truth.
Yes.
So
what they're saying is that the general consensus of the mushroom community that's doing high doses are saying everything is God. Everything is God. You're God. Your neighbor is God. Going back to the Jesus verse, love your neighbor as love your God with all thy heart and all thy soul. Because if you're God, you should love yourself.
Okay.
And love your neighbor as you love yourself, because everything is God. So everything in proximity to you is also God. And if you understand that everything is God, you will cherish yourself because you're God, and you will cherish your neighbor because your neighbor is also God. There is no enemy. You become in harmony with everything. They say there ain't no past and there ain't no future. All there is the eternal now. And the illusion of the past and future is only set up so that you can exist on the physical plane. That's only a requirement for the physical plane, so you can have this physical experience. Because experience is the process of going from not knowing to knowing, which is why you can never know everything, because the moment you know everything, you will be God.
Pantheism.
And your vibration will be so high, you can't be in physical form. So
Pantheism.
we're constantly, go ahead.
Pantheism.
You know what that is?
Pantheism.
I do.
It's everything you just described.
But,
And so if someone had to go take a super, super high dose of mushrooms to learn about
Pantheism.
they tripping.
So I don't know what pantheism. I'm aware that there's multiple gods, but what the ancients were saying. So from my perspective, when I'm looking at this, when they're labeling different forces in nature, for lack of a better phrase, it's not saying there's multiple gods. All there is one God.
No, that's polytheism, my friend. I'm not trying to cut you off. Well, at certain times, if you keep going, we're going to go down the wrong tree. It's like letting the wrong, you got to prune your plants. If a branch start growing wrong, you just clip it off. That's polytheism. That's multiple gods. You was talking about once you get high, you learn that everything is God and we're all gods. That's pantheism. Right. Pan means all. Everything. And so you see, and it says a doctrine in which identifies God with the universe or regards to the universe as manifestations of God. That means us. That's sometimes when people be like the universe did it, that's all inclusive. So I'm not discrediting nothing you saying. You are right. What I'm saying is that if the mushroom community had to take a really high dose, they could have just learned about pantheism.
Pantheism.
By just researching it. You see what I'm saying? It's not nothing that you unmasked this morning that would even require going into the realm. Like, give me some of that deep knowledge then. This ain't nothing you gotta go get high to learn.
Going back to what you said with Osiris, when you said that he's transfigured into another form, or he's death. First of all, there ain't no death. All you do is change form. All there is a changing of forms. There is no death. There is no beginning. There is no end. So it is correct that when you die, you go back to being the Godhead, if you will, and then you come into another form.
There ain't no death, so when you die. Did you just say there ain't no death, so when you die?
Or you get to the end of your transition. When you get to the end of your transition, just like the Book of Dead is talking about, that this is not a life process. We're going through a death process. We're dying from the time we're born. So by implication, when you quote unquote die here, you're being born somewhere else. So these words are tricky. So to get past these obstacles of words, because there ain't no death, but we still have to come up with a word that implies the end of a transition. So what word do we choose? If you don't have these higher understandings, you think death means an end.
Okay, well, let me tell you why it's not good to let somebody go down now let me prune this plant. Because it's not called the Book of the Dead. It was simple. I know you know that.
Walking into that, I know, but that's my point. That's my point to you. I'm saying when they say that, I know whoever translated it don't know what death is. They're not studying from the direct source. This has been a part of my use of a word. It's been religified.
No,
that means the people who used it don't know what the original people were saying, and it took on its own meaning outside of what the original people were saying. That's the proof.
See,
they're calling it death, and ain't no such thing as death, and the people that created it don't call it death.
Well, my friend, the book is entitled that way because of translation. That's what I'm saying, and this is why we study fields. We get into fields of study to learn the nuances and the small things like I'm about to teach you. The book isn't called the Book of the Dead because of a translation of anything inside of that book. It's called the Book of the Dead because it was found in a tomb. See what I mean? And so its relationship to death is only because it was found in a tomb. It's not saying that the title or the words on the front page of it mean death. It's called Pert M. Heru, coming forth by day. You know what I'm saying? And so
walking into the light.
Yeah.
Going into the light.
And I don't even part M. Heru, it might have some other parts into it. But again, so they weren't translating that to say something about dead. It was just found in the tomb of a dead man. That wasn't a pharaoh or nothing. It was like found in the tomb of just a regular dead person. And that's like dead man book, and it's the Book of the Dead. You know what I mean? And so again, I'm not trying to be a certain way, but if some of these nuances would help to know that they wasn't mentioning an error, or these translators wasn't so off point. They just called it that because it was found on a dead man.
Was it an error when you just read what you just read from Osiris, and it says Imhotep is going to die and change figure into Osiris? Is that a mistake when they called it death? The English translation?
Where at? What do you mean? Osiris, futuristic title of the deceased. What's on the term right now? Well, deceased is a thing. So that's why I'm saying when you talk about there's no death, you can only say that metaphysically. You can't say that physically. There's a physical death. There's decay. There's also all kind of things. You see what I'm saying? Like after you die, you're going to decay. Your body, unless you are mummified, your body will turn back into the dirt and stuff. And so those are things. But we're saying metaphysically, there's the entity inside of us, which really comprises us, which is our spirit and our soul, will live on. Ancient Egyptians said that. We're saying that now. You see what I mean? But we have to recognize the process of growth and degeneration on Earth is just a simple process. We know that we can dialogue like this again when we outside of these bodies in another way. We agree on those type of things. Even Christians agree on that They just call it heaven. You see what I mean? And so I don't think there's no disagreements there. And I don't think there's nothing new being brought to the table by the body of metaphysics in that regards. And saying I'm just studying history but can't put it into modern day, I think this is an example of how it is being used in modern day. You're saying a lot of the things that they said in ancient times, but just that some things are off. You know what I'm saying? Like the beard didn't have to mean a ray of sunlight for them to understand that that we would be living after we get out of our physical bodies. You know what I mean?
So what would you say to why there's a picture of magic mushrooms on the outside wall temple of Hathor's temple? That would it be fair to say that what they're saying is that complete wisdom cannot be acquired solely from the physical? That being rooted in being human is going to give you a major limitation to your perspective of what's taking place and what life is. And to have a complete perspective, you have to go beyond being human. You have to go into these altered states, like what the shamans are doing, the magic people are doing, which is why I would say to you, that's why they have a picture of freaking mushrooms on the wall, because they're saying to be physical isn't enough.
All right.
It's a part of it, just like there's another part of going beyond the physical, which I would agree. I think you would agree if you had these psychedelic experiences. You're going beyond the physical in these experiences. And that's why it's on there saying, hey, because there's a problem, people don't see the world as it is, they only see it as they are, which means they only notice the things that they already believe. So in order to see things as they are, you have to stop being you, and you have to become everything. The only way you can do that is through meditation, breathing exercises, psychedelic experiences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So I'm trying to see if keep going. I'm trying to see if I can find that word in the dictionary. Keep going. Keep teaching.
So, yeah, same thing with King's Tut's face mask. The reason why the emphasis of gold is because that's the color of the sun when it's setting.
Nah, man. You made that up, bruh.
The chemist, the symbol of for gold in chemistry is AU, which AU comes from August. August is one of the months where the sun is at its highest form. All these connections go together.
What? Oh my God, bro. Why you do that? You just messing stuff up. Like you be sounding good and then you just said that. You said the symbol for gold is AU, August, and that's when the sun is. First of all, you wrong. Let's just do this. Let's deal with this. When is the sun at
one of the moments where it's the highest?
Yeah, but it's not August. Point. So why would they be like one of its highest? They know when it's at its highest because they knew solstices and they knew equinoxes, right? And what's the opposite of a solstice? The summer solstice. That's when it's at its highest point. So is that August? You could be right. Let's see.
Let me respond. I got a response for you. What number month is September?
Huh? So now what you gonna go into the 9 ether, or what is that? What's that gonna do?
If you look up where the root of the word Set comes from, Set means 7. It does not mean 9. But September is in the position of the month 9, but the meaning of where the word comes from is actually 7. So this is my point.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter that the September meaning 7 is in the 9th position, because that's a contradiction doesn't refute anything that I'm saying. I'm still on point what I'm talking about. I know these meaning of words.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware, but we're dealing with people are wrongly interpreting things. And you have to factor this into the equation, that when you cross-reference something and check something, the source you checking is wrong. That's coming from someone else with the wrong interpretation.
But even that wasn't a good analogy. I hear what you're saying perfect, but I don't see it working that way. September is the 9th month, right? We just
Correct.
not even dealing right now. That in English, September is the 9th month. That's not dealing with what the word Sep used to mean. You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying because October, okay, it would. I mean, but July don't mean the what 6th month, do it, or 7th month, do it. You see what I mean? And so that's kind of
So-
like, does it?
So if anything, what I want you to do to just roll with me to at least say, okay, I disagree with what you're saying, but what you're saying is at least a coincidence. That I don't agree with the connection you're making, but it is coincidental. Can you at least give me that?
What is a coincidence?
That King Tut's tomb was like in 5 layers of gold. It's like in 5 different tombs. All of them are gold, and all of it is in gold.
That
This
didn't
is
have nothing to do
connecting-
with that. It had.
This is connecting to sun worship. So mind you, the backdrop, we're dealing with a culture that has anthropomorphized the sun.
No,
So okay,
man.
that's a coincidence. So you're saying there's a coincidence, but the coincidence doesn't have any correlation. That's fine, but can you at least give me that? That's a coincidence that the people that are worshiping the sun in these gazillion million different ways, the tomb of the pharaoh is in something the same color as the sun when they say. Can you give me that as a coincidence? Or are you going to say that it's
But
not even a connection?
that's not even some coincidences have to coincide. Like they're saying the color of your car and the color. If you got a yellow car and the sun is yellow, that's not a coincidence. You see what I mean?
I'm not stopping there. I'm still going. So okay, it's in his tomb is in 10 levels of gold, or however many it is, like 4 or 5 different layers of gold. It's solid gold all the way through. Okay, gold is represented by AU. AU is August. It's the summer month when the sun is very hot. Okay, he has the false beard on King Tut's face mask. I told you, from my perspective, the beard is going to the horizon, Ra, meaning
All
the
right.
sun.
I'm starting to
as
think you
above,
just
so
playing,
below.
blood. Nah, I mean, I ain't cutting you off. I'm starting to think you just playing a little bit. Because I showed you enough for you to at least agree that you might be off point on some of the stuff. Like, why won't you entertain the things that I've asked you to entertain? Why, if they wanted to represent it this way, did they not do it on the deity who represented the sun? So you don't want to answer those questions.
It's about the sun. I agree with you. It's about the sun. It is about the sun. It's about a deity that's about the sun. It's about the sun. That's still in line. I'm agreeing with that.
No, you're not.
No.
No. I'm asking the question, please. I didn't think I asked it correctly. Why did they not put the false beard on the anthropomorphized version of the sun? If you said this false beard represents a ray of sunlight, why did they not use that false beard on the deity that represented the sun?
I can't tell you what. Now you know that I think you playing when you asking me why didn't they do something else going back in history. Man, the best we could do is look at what they did.
Nah.
But if you're asking me to ask why they did something they didn't
Nah.
do, that's beyond historical knowledge. That's psychic powers. That's
not true, my
history.
brother, because it falls within the realm of your logic. Your logic says that they wanted to represent a ray of sunlight by a false beard. Following that logic, if they also wanted to represent the sun by a human who could have a false beard, then it would only be logical to think that the false beard that represented a ray of sunlight would be on the deity that represented the sun. That's complete
I can tell you what
logic.
I think. I can tell you what I think. My opinion is this: if everything is God, going back to that. So this is what I would say to you. Going back to metaphysics. So this is why I say checkmate for me, because this is what the Egyptologists can't do. Is just break down. The most important thing that conclusion you're ever going to come to is whether or not you're human or whether or not you're God. If you say that you're human, then you're going to spend the rest of your life, in most cases, trying to develop a relationship or get closer to God. And then I would say the psychedelic people are saying if you spend your whole life trying to get closer to God, you have wasted your life because God don't want to be God. Not saying that literally as an expression, because God wants to be you. That's why you're you. God wants to be me. That's why he's me. God wants to be the tree. There is no fun for God being up in nothing for infinity. God wants to experience itself. So the way God experiences itself is through creation. So then that means God don't want to be God. God wants to be you so that you can have an experience. The magic isn't in what happens when you leave here. The magic is when you get here to this experience that allows God to perceive itself.
Bruh, I think you lost one today. Because we was talking, and I didn't even want to have to go into the King Tut's tomb. Well, I would have just bodied you all up on that one. Because I could show you why they really got the gold. The only relationship you got between the tomb and the sun is preposterous. The color.
So last thing, can I say one more thing? So my point was by saying that the point of deity, the deity is yourself when you have the highest level of understanding. If you think the deity is outside of yourself, you already don't, from my perspective, you don't understand nothing what the original ancestors were saying. You have now made a mistake and fallen into this religious paradigm where you're interpreting someone else's interpretation that wasn't the first reference. So the reason that they haven't put the beard on the deity is because they're tailoring this for the physical experience, being human. It's not about the deity.
That
this
don't
is
work.
For the people who run the person.
That don't work in this argument. They have a representation of anthropomorphized or human son.
That wasn't a good breakdown. You just don't accept my answer. That wasn't at least an interesting breakdown. It's totally trash. You're saying the whole breakdown is trash. Don't make no sense.
I didn't diss it. I just said it wasn't a good one. Because you got to feel why I said it wasn't good. Because they have a version of... I know the fans... I mean, I said the fans, bro. I know anybody who listening to this understand what we talking about. And I know they can see what I'm saying, and I know they can see what you're saying. They have a version of a deity. That was the sun. Why would they not have put the ray of sunlight on that deity? Yet they put it on other deities that they told people they would be represented like when they were deceased, which was Osiris. You see what I'm saying? And so I don't get it. When they were deceased, they told them, okay, you be just as good as Osiris if you lived a good human life. And Osiris has on this pochief, and now you got on your false beard. The deity that deals with the sun don't got nothing to do with the false beard. And so it would take someone coming after the fact and mixing and matching things and taking something from over here and say it means something with something over there. That's just my closing on that. And then I'll close on what I think about the Tadak Amen gold. If you can't come with any relation, my friend, between the gold and the sun besides the color, then you would be safe to say that that's why Slick Rick got hella gold chains too. Because gold is still the same color of the sun. But people use gold modern times for other purposes than to show something about the sun. There's no suns. He could have just drawn golden suns in his tomb if he wanted to represent the sun. And so I just think that's just far out and really metaphysical. And yes, if we want to stay beyond all things physical, then we could argue certain things like that. But when we start to look at what's really on the walls, then it'd be hard to mount such arguments.
Yes, sir, man. Good build with you. I just wanted to build with you and have a good combo. I think we had a good combo.
Yeah, we could do it more often too. And, look at some of the things I said, and I'll take a look at some of the things you said. And, hopefully we can add to our body of knowledge.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the bill, man.
Word up. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, that was a good call. You feel me? I don't like to be like debate everybody to the floor. But we can debate, though. If, like, I'm going to a real debate, then I'm going to just come in prepared and body it up. But come on now, y'all heard that shit? I'm just trying to be cool with you, family member. That shit, man. That metaphysical stuff is cool, it's good, and it's useful. It has a place. But it don't have a place when we have real empirical evidence to draw from. Let's see what the people in the chat saying. Somebody was going hard on you. Let the door hit him where the metaphysics hit him. Y'all hella funny. T-Mula, call in. He talking about we need a new caller. That was a cool build for the morning. Damn, I did 2 hours that quick. I told you, bro, no fishing for real now. I'll never catch a fish. Golly. I actually caught one recently on the aqueduct. Nice little striper. I don't even take pictures of my fish no more. That's a cool 2 hours. We got 10 more minutes. If somebody want to call in and do that last 10 minutes. Somebody put a comment on the screen so we can see it pop up on the screen. I ain't tripping. Man, check this out. I do want to look into the mushrooms. I am going to spend some time on this inscription that the brother showed me just to prove that it don't. I mean, if it says something about some shrooms, then so be it. But I don't think it's going to be talking about no shrooms. It don't never be like that. Like, it just don't be like that. And so the farthest I got, this is the glyph I was asking y'all to help me with. We all supposed to know it, but I ain't been reading lately. It's like a XH. And so if you want to read this, we go, this is like a KH or XH, man. What is the Karu? No, this is a Q, and that's why I'm like, this is just crazy for me. This word right here. But then I got the new, then we got the wood. It's just some crazy shit. Because this is a T. Is this a T? But it looked all carved out crazy. Then that same determinative, then R, then the A, then the F, the two mouths. What does two mouths mean? So this must be a name. Ferrec. I see a F, two R's, and a K. Then we see the reed leaves, the double reed leaves with the, this is like a, I don't know. It's crazy, but that's what I be telling people. So what I do is I grab this and I write down everything I see. I parse the words, then I go back and read them because you don't know every ancient Egyptian word you're going to see. You can even look in a dictionary and not know every word you see. A real one. But with that being said, that was my time. Hold on for the day. Hold on. Let me get back to my peoples. That was my time for the day, man. I ain't about to just work like a dog today, but I got to spend time with my family, my children, and get ready to do other things. And so, thanks for tapping in.